What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to my latest obsession in Farming Simulator, the Alma, Missouri playthrough. We're going to go ahead and try to get the feed mixer figured out today. We got it pulled out so we can do a valid mix this time instead of accidentally dropping it in there. And then the next thing after we get this all sorted out, we'll make sure the rest of the animals have food, but we're going to start prepping these fields completely for the next harvest. That means we're going to figure out something with a cultivator to get that 50% yield bonus or 50% fertilization from the cover crops, and we'll have to rent something to apply some lime. That's what's on task today, and we should be completely prepared for the planting season next episode if we get all that done in today's. So let's go ahead and grab one thing of hay here now that we put 2 silage in, and we'll get our help menu opened up so we can see the numbers when we get over here. And we'll see how close this gives us a good mixture that's dropping in there. It's getting there. We got a good one now. So we have TMR. We could add straw. I think we're going to hold on to the straw for manure still. But what percentage does that actually get? The trailer here. About 47, so that's not bad. So what I think we're going to do, we'll grab 2 of these silage bales, another hay, and then we'll top it off with a tiny little bit of straw. I think that'll be good. And we'll grab the hay bale since I'm right here. And I've heard rumors that the area around the silos grass does not cut for hay. So we'd have to go around the fields to get a little bit of extra hay if we run out between now and spring when the grass field grows again. So some things to be a little concerned about, but I think we'll be fine and get by. Let's get this mix finished. See how it turned out. Okay, so that is 4 silage bales and 2 hay bales. We're at 95%, a good mixture. We should be able to just grab a straw bale to get to us to 100% in the trailer. And that'll be, you know, the straw is always nice for extra filler to just kind of save us, but right now I'd really rather focus on all this straw going towards manure. And we might actually look into getting a pit by the horse stables if we can figure that out long term, but financially we're not going to be able to do that right away. That'll be something down the road, but that being said, I don't know if we're going to have a crop that generates straw next year, so we got some things to figure out. And we want to slow roll this stuff, so I don't want to make any rash decisions. That took 1,000. That's pretty perfect. So this bale would last us 4 mixes. I'm just going to put it right here so we know the partial one is out here. And that let go. Perfect. Top out. So we'll jump in the case and get them fed. And it is the same day. I was just doing this to try to get the muscle memory down on how we're going to want to make mixes while we have a limited amount of hay right now. So they're actually going to top out at their 60,000 while there's still some in the mixer. So that's good. That is good. Let's grab the John Deere again. We're going to take a little bit of hay over to the horses. They don't necessarily need it yet, but I do want to get them a little bit over there before we space it and accidentally give it all to the cattle. So we'll just grab one for now. And we'll probably do the same for the goats, even though they still have 20,000 liters in their capacity. So they're looking pretty solid still. Hopefully that wool production is going to pick up here soon and make a good amount of money this spring when time comes to sell the wool. So that's good for the horses. And yeah, like I said, we'll do the same for the sheep. And then we're going to take a look in the store and see what kind of cultivator we could get a hold of based off of the equipment we have. And I was tempted to lease 2 of them this time around, so that we could have 2 tractors going at the 2 fields at the same time, but we'll see. $281,000, that's pretty solid. Before we do that, let's go ahead and top off the chickens as well. And I'm hearing that there's a mod that will automatically sell the new babies, the excess babies, if they, we hit maximum here. So that way we could keep the older ones that are producing eggs and we'll get rid of the babies. But we have a while. We're still at 188 out of 475. So that should be pretty good. I think we'll leave this trailer here with that wheat in it so we can just top it off later. The last thing we need to double check on before we get busy with field work is going to be the greenhouse here. And it has 17,000 liters in it. That's pretty good. I don't think we'll switch to tomatoes yet. I'm just not 100% sure we're going to be able to pull that off this calendar year. Possibly, but after today, we might have a better idea. All right, let's learn our limitations. The 8R has 420 horsepower. That's pretty awesome. The Puma has 302, so we will be looking at something around 400 horsepower for a cultivator now. 400 horses here. And the width is 14.3. We're gonna buy it. That puts us at 150. I think unfortunately this year, the catch-up production's gonna not be in the cards for us. It's unfortunate, but I think it completely makes sense for where we're at with this playthrough and taking over this farm in Alma. We still have some time before we can progress to productions, which is completely fine. We can enjoy some field work here. So looking at the map right now, if we pull up the fertilization state, there is nothing. Let's lock in place and lower. And we're gonna, pull forward just a little bit, and then we're gonna hop out and take a look at this soil and see if it does give us that 50% fertilization. We can already see in the bottom right there. Let's open up the big map. That's looking perfect. So our process here is working. The next step of that would be getting something to spread manure or slurry. Probably both is what we'll need long term. Financially, I'm not sure what we'll be able to pull off since we bought this, but probably should have looked in the used market before we made that call. There was nothing. That's good. A good width. This is what I want. Some equipment that's not going to be tedious to do these large fields. This size of a cultivator is pretty impressive. But you know what time it is. It's time to get it done. Well, the headlands are done here, and 400 horsepower might be a little too much for this tractor when it comes to some of the hills, but we'll get by. Just no extra speed. We're not going to be able to go. We're not going to be able to, I mean, the thing I'm complaining about is we can't use the speed override, which is completely optional. Just helps me get things done a little bit quicker and get back to other tasks. And thinking through this, if we're producing enough slurry and manure long term, I don't think we're gonna really want to use cover crops. We want to limit the amount of diesel we use and the amount of field work. But the flip side of that is the capacity of a lot of these slurry spreaders isn't great, and same with the manure spreaders. So we'll take a look at those before we buy them and see if we can find some mods maybe to help us out, just to make it a little bit more enjoyable, because we don't want to do half a pass and fill up based on the capacity. So we'll take a look at some of those later on in today's episode. But those are some decisions on how we're going to want to run this farm long term that we'll want to make. I do want to avoid using fertilizer and herbicides still. I think it's a fun way to have a different playthrough and keep the soil and the product a little more natural. In hindsight, we probably should have leased the cultivator, because I don't know if we're going to need it long term. Let's take a look at a few things here. So we know the seeder can plant without being cultivated. No tillage is required for that. But what about our planter? So we do have the Optima. Let's go look at that in planters real quick. If we can do this before we I don't know if we're gonna do it. We might need to stop. Hold on, I'm freaking out now, man. Okay, it does require, so we will need cultivation if we're gonna use the planter, so that's good. We do need this. It was a little bit pricey compared to what we probably should have done based on our finances right now, but we're playing long. This is the long game here. There's a little spot that we need to get down at the bottom, and then we're done with this field, and we're gonna hand this to a worker to do the cornfield, and we're gonna then move on to figuring out the next phase, which pricing out slurry machines or slurry spreaders and manure spreaders, as well as we want to take a look at leasing some equipment to spread lime. We only have to do lime every, what, 2 or 3 years? I forget what it is without precision farming. And that's, you know, that's something I don't think we need to invest in owning. I think we can go ahead and just every couple of years lease a lime spreader, since we don't need the spreader for multiple jobs at this point, because we're going to try to use the manure and slurry, so we don't need a spreader every year. I think that makes some sense. How was fuel? Fuel should be fine to finish this job. We'll have to worry about that later on, but they're going to get started here. Worker A, going to get the job done for us. Big cultivator. All right, we're going to look at the catalog for the new things that we need. Manure spreaders, width-wise, we're looking at 24 meters, $150,000. 24 meters for 110,000. That's not bad at all. Something we might lease this year. Slurry transportation long-term would be nice to get something like this so we can pull it close to the field and then have a slurry tank, you know, with a decent width as well would be nice. This one says it's 32 meters. That's awesome. But it is $250,000. And here we have 20. Where's the width on these things? Oh, that doesn't show the width. That's just capacity. These are just tanks. Okay, so here's a spreader with a 15-meter width for 102,000. And then these ones are 15 meters as well. So it looks like 15 is what we're going to get. Manure, these were widths. Okay, just making sure we're looking at that right. And then if we go into animals, we could see that we have 24,000 manure, 31,000 slurries. So we'd probably want to favor the slurry first, but I don't think we want to do that today. So now let's take a look at spreaders for lime. We're going to go ahead and lease the good old faithful one. We do want to add the big extension though, so we can fit as much as possible. We'll go ahead and lease that. And we got a lot of fields to do, so I think what we'll do is grab... Oh, we probably want to take the trailer with us. Let's grab 8 and 8. Let's see. Okay, so that tractor's being used. This one... Oh, can we hook the trailer up to this? We'll find out. We'll want to get the pallet forks, so we'll swap that out as well so we can load the lime pallets. Yeah, and I think this is the weight that we will be able to put the trailer on, I believe. Yes, that's good. I like that. And it's field trip time. We're going to drive the case ourselves, and we will have a worker follow us with the John Deere. All right, that's all configured. Hopefully that turn's not too wide and the trailer's not going to get stuck. Let's make sure before we get too far. Yeah, they're good. All right, I'll see you at the store. Yeah, really regretting that cultivator purchase. I think it would have made more sense to purchase things for fertilizer and lease the items that we can use once a year, where these ones we're going to use a lot more than once a year. So John Deere did fall a little bit behind, but they'll be here momentarily and we can get this pre-filled. And I forgot that we're going to need to do the grass field as well, so we might want to purchase a little bit more lime to take home with us. Here they come. Look at that. Love automation. Are they going to hit us though? They might hit us. Avoid the collision. Beautiful. Did decide to risk it on the lime. I forgot there are 2,000 liters each, so it might be enough. We got them following us again. I think I'm going to go a little bit slower so they can keep up. And then we can strategically stop so they don't run into buses like I did earlier. I don't know if we showed that in the video, though. We had our follower run into a bus and get stuck. Yeah, it should be enough lime. If it's not, like I said, oh, this guy's trying to overtake. That's never good. There's the situation I was just talking about. That's the downside of Follow Me. Really good around the farm, really bad in these type of situations. But I'm not scared to abuse super strength to make my life easier. I enjoy it. All right, let's get home. I was ranting about, you know, we'll have some delivered if we need to. We'll pay the delivery fee on that because it'll be a smaller amount than what we just ordered. Let's get home. We'll start with the grass field. We'll then do the field that we just cultivated and then finish up with the corn field and get all of these fields prepped for the next planting session. And just waiting for our, oh, he's right there. Wanted to give a little bit of an update on, some people may not understand how Giant's engine works. There's two types of grass. One is more visual. It's like a decorative one like you see here, and that's when you cut it and it just disappears. I believe that's what's here, but if we run over this direction, we might not be able to tell in this right now, but then there's a type called meadow. There's grass and meadow's the one that you cut and it drops similar to what this grass is, and it looks a little bit thicker over here. I think you can tell the difference a little bit better in the spring, but that's typically what you'll see on these maps when there's areas that you cut the grass but nothing drops, and like right here you can kind of I don't know, might edit that whole part out, guys. I don't know if I explained that well. We'll see how far 14,000 liters gets us. I'm gonna turn and get started on a good straightaway here, and oh, is it not gonna let me drop lime here? I never understand. Yeah, it's not gonna let us do the grass field. I never understand when it does. It must need to be, even though we cut it in November, I thought we could do this now. Next time we cut, we'll have to lease some equipment, I guess. Unfortunate. I don't understand some of the things and decisions they've made in this game. You should be able to apply lime whenever you want. Craziness. I get you wouldn't want to apply lime when a crop's growing, but the grass hasn't grown since we cut it. It should be in the same state it was when we first cut it in November. Confused. Looks like we went through a little over 3,000 on the headland, which doesn't seem terrible. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Guys. Ups and downs left to do here. I think we will need to fill it up a little bit when we get close to being done, but good amount of product is spreading pretty well. Going 19 miles an hour right now. All is good. It's going to be just about the right amount of lime. It's pretty awesome. So just about done with this first field. We will turn around. I think we'll have enough to finish, even though it's going to waste a good amount of product since it's overlapping on this next little pass here. But we got to do what we got to do. Yeah, it'll be close. Whatever it doesn't get, I'm not going to stress about it. It's such a small area right here. But we'll go fill back up, and they're close to being done cultivating the cornfield, so the timing's just about perfect. Looks like we'll have 4,000 extra if we use all of this, and I think we will. The field is bigger, but we're going to take a little bit of a snack break while we wait for our good helper to finish. And I've lost track. Oh, there they are. They're coming up the hill. I think they're doing the first of 2 headlands. Very, very nice. I think one of the things that I've never really given praise to is the way they turned around. They were going to the left, and then it was easier for them to turn around and go the other direction, so they did. I think that's a good addition to the guided steering. It's come a long ways. I think it could get a lot better. And it is the first, like I've talked about multiple times, it is the first time Giants has added this to the game and not relied on course play. So it'll be interesting to see over the years how it improves. And there's already been some nice additions. One of the early ones that they did was the ability to hide the lines. The fact that that came really quick after release was pretty nice. So they're going to go 9 miles an hour. So we're going to let them get a good head start. And then we'll get going with the lime session. Actually, we should be able to just start wherever we want. So we'll line up right here, lock it in, turn it on, and away we go. We might have to buy a little bit more. I have a feeling we will. Not a big deal, but it's time to get it done. And it looks like we might get lucky here and have enough fertilizer, or lime, sorry, this is lime, not fertilizer. We'll see in a couple passes here. This is going to be the longest one with the last 4,000. We might be one bag short. We'll see in a moment. And it looks like we did have plenty. Dogs are barking, and we bought the right amount. Silly dogs ruining a little moment. So what they're barking at right now is my daughter just walked across the street to get her car and drove back, and when she got home, they went crazy. They watched her walk across the street, get in her car, but then decide to bark when she gets back. Silly puppies. Okay, we're gonna dump the lime right there. We'll go in the menu and we'll get this returned. There it is. Return. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a few years or a couple months when we do the grass field. But that is all the time we have for today's episode. We'll get into planting next episode and keep moving on in this series. I'm loving it. I hope you're enjoying Alma, Missouri as well. I'm Socks Way Up. I'll catch you on the next episode.